origin story.
Real estate to viral trends, your online game, they'll help it mend.
Okay, going live on the gram.
Post a story, make it pop. Fly laughs, don't let the rhythm stop. Brokers out there, hear the call. Socials, the
Good morning. Greg, a lot of real estate. Thanks for joining us over on the gram. Gram Fam's up and ready to go. Welcome everybody to Social Surge with Fly and Mo. Miss Holly Pennington, good morning. Thanks for joining us from the gram.
Stand out strong in the digital crowd.
Thursday.
When you told me you had the beer with latte, I thought you were talking about like the drink.
What?
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, okay.
I have my little like girly girl morning routine, and like get my little coffee and and then my little ice, and then do her, listen to my podcast. I'm just a silly little marketing girl. I want to cover teenage dirtbag, but it's like I'm just a marketing girl, baby. I'm like my post, don't say maybe.
That would be amazing.
I have a lot of really great ideas.
That needs to be the next one. It is Social Surge with Fly and Mo. I'm Mo Regalado. Over there is Miss Fly Jamerson. There we go. Got the finger. Right. Yeah. And it's Thursday. Welcome to Thursday. We're both kind of just like, wow, it's already Thursday.
Good morning, Wayne. Coming in from the LinkedIn. Yeah, we stream every Tuesday, Thursday. LinkedIn, X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. Once again, we're here.
Yeah. All right. So today is kind of an interesting topic that I don't know why we're still having to address this in 2025. But we are still having to address this in 2025. Fake followers cause real problems. And we're going over why fake followers hurts your brand.
I got 99 followers, but a bot ain't one.
Nice. That's okay. That's another song right there. That is.
I got you.
So I between Fly and I and talking with prospects and stuff, I can't tell you how many times we've had somebody mention, oh, why don't we buy followers? Or my other favorite is make it go viral. I can't make anything go viral. Like even the videos on Instagram that tell you, oh, if you follow this formula, your stuff will go viral.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, on that subject, there are things, there are conventions, there are editing styles, there are ways that you can write, there are ways that you can like put things together. There are quote unquote formulas that in general tend to yield good content,
right.
Interest, attention capturing content, right? But there's a difference between like the idea of somebody says like, oh, I want this result versus what is the work that we do to build something that has the potential to get that kind of traction.
Yeah. No notes. 100%. Like seriously, like that. I mean, that's the formula right there, right? Like you can look at some brands, right? And you can see that they've had viral moments, but the reason why they've had viral moments is because they've been consistently producing content that people want to watch, that they're interested in. And sometimes it literally has nothing to do with their brand at all. Coy Davidson joining us over on the gram. What are you doing on the gram, Coy? Thanks for joining us this morning. So, this was a big thing. Like buying followers was a big thing. I would say probably 2018, 2019. I don't predominantly see it as much. I see more fake engagement, which pisses me off to no end.
Well,
it's
what's interesting to me about that in the terms of like whatever it is, it's like it's synthetic, it's manufactured, it's artificial, it's not real followers or engagement. It's interesting for me to see the sort of the zeitgeist or whatever from going from followers to engagement, because the following is not an indication of success anymore, right, in the way that it used to be. And so I understand why the move is there, but you're right, we don't necessarily see. Koi says you two are the only reason I come here. Otherwise Instagram is a dark and sunless place, like for Koi. Yeah. Sorry, I'm on one this morning, but
no, you're the whole thing is that if you're trying to build credibility, and that's the reason why people bought followers back in the day, pouring out for our homies. Don't pour it out. It's the pressure to look credible, and they're super impatient on growing organically, or it's the instant fix of like, well, I don't actually want to spend money on ads, but I'm going to spend money to buy followers, and that's going to make me look great. They also have the comparison syndrome where it's like, oh, well, this site has, or, this page has more followers than I do, and I need to get up there because we're competitors. No. Okay. So the problem with followers, and we've talked about this before, is the fact that I would rather have 1,000, hell, I would rather have 100 people following me who are exactly my ideal client than having 100,000 followers of people who are just random selections from the universe, mostly from India, right? Because that's where all these accounts come from. Right. That have no interest in my content, don't want to pay attention. Like they're just there. They're just flotsam. I'm using flotsam because you talked about Ariel.
Yeah, I have a thing going on. Flotsam and jetsam are based, honestly. But no, it's like, I haven't figured out quite how to articulate it because it's sort of a part of my larger developing thesis about social media in this business. But I continue to be shocked by the the word I was about to say makes it less shocking, but the vanity. And it's not what the vanity doesn't shock me. And I think that it is important to be intentional about how you're showing up in spaces and like what things look like. And I think that's great to be intentional about that. I certainly have improved. Look at my hair, right? Like I've done since I've started becoming more visible in the space, like my awareness of how I appear in the space, I've made upgrades to the visual quality of my work, to like how I'm myself and put together, like, and that in itself does a lot for your confidence. But the thing that I am continually shocked by is how, so many very successful people in this business there's something in them that is, the shame or like the lack of self-confidence or the lack of self-esteem or, just the anxiety of being perceived. And like it, the people who are, I see this most with people who are like sub 500 followers or connections, especially down to like sub 100, and it's, again, because of the way that the apps function now, it can be very hard to grow your following on an app. And I take issue also with the idea of like growing your following or growing your influence, right? Because to me, it's about the right people and the right relationships to have the right conversations. And so if you're concerned, like, oh, I just want to have this like truly superficial injection of like, I don't want to look like I'm a person who only has 150 followers. I want to be a person who looks like they have 1,500 or 15,000 followers. Okay, are you that person? Like slapping a number up there is not going to solve the problem.
Right. Yeah. So, and on one side, we see lack of self-confidence, right? And on the other hand, we see massive egos that are just like, well, I am very super important, Mr. Man, and I need to have as many followers as possible. Okay, really super important, Mr. Man, do you have anything worth of value to say to those followers?
And that's where you should start. Like, that's where people should start. And that is much harder than buying followers or fake engagement. I mean, for me, it is the difference between, I honestly have no other analogy than this. So sorry if it's controversial, but it's the difference between like doing a workout plan and or like and getting a personal trainer and like lifting weights and going on a diet and all this stuff versus taking a shortcut by doing something medical or surgical to your body that like gets it to you instantly, right? And so like that, it's not a great comparison. I don't really want to go there. But you'll have this injection of followers or engagement, and what it becomes is non-sustainable. And you will see, and I want you to get into also too about how these like fake following and engagements, like how they can actually backfire inside of the algorithm and everything. But it's just really like it's like a dopamine hit, right? It's like, oh, I suddenly have like 10,000 more followers. That's great. What is going to happen after that feeling of like, oh, I've got this thing now, I'm like legit.
Right. So you do get that dopamine hit because you're just like, oh, this is so great. But the problem is that the algorithms are smart enough that they know when the engagement and the followers are fake, and it actually ruins your metrics. So if you really, really, really hate your social media manager, this is what you need to do, right? Like, you absolutely need to go buy fake followers and then not tell them that you bought fake followers.
I have a feeling this happened to you.
It has. I was like, oh, wow, how did we get, what happened here? Oh yeah, by the way, I bought fake followers. And I was like, what the thanks. Okay. So your engagement tanks, right? So here's the other thing with either fake followers or fake engagement. James Milner's joined us over on the gram. And by Mrs. here too. Missa does laser cutting. She's a designer. So back when I was crafting a lot in 2020, like we all were, right? So
I baked so much banana bread. Okay, also just a sidebar, like I used to be a pastry chef. I don't know, that's not a story I tell too often. I might bring it up again for my top of funnel content about my career. However, I baked so much freaking banana bread during the pandemic, and then also because I had just had my daughter, like right when the pandemic hit, it was like right then, and so I'm talking like 3 loaves a day. Because I wasn't sleeping because of the baby, and I was just at home, so I was just cranking out banana bread. Anyway.
It's freaking hilarious. I love it. Okay. so the banana bread sidebar. Oh, I love this. Park the ego, edging goodness out. We build, not borrow our network, and that takes time. I freaking love that.
So good. And just
Danielle
like,
dropping bars.
Always with the acronyms. I love it. Every single one a banger.
So let me tell you something about what happens on LinkedIn. And I've seen this happen time and again, right? So you buy followers or you buy engagement or you do engagement pods, which I've been asked about this before. Dwayne, I will explain it right now. So there's things like engagement pods that you can get involved in. Engagement pods are a group of 20, 40 people who are like, when you post, I'm going to comment, blah, 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 blah. That's all well, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to game the system, right? Like because we know that once you engage, your contents get shared more, it gets shared to a wider audience. That's all well and good. Is that the audience, though, that you are actually trying to attract? 1. 2, the algorithm then figures out that, oh, every single time that this person posts, these same 10 people comment on this post, or these same 20 people are all engaging back and forth, and they will actually take those impressions and the metrics back. So initially everything looks hunky-dory. It's beautiful. Oh my God, I've got like shares and I've got all this stuff happening, blah, 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 blah. And then like a week to 2 weeks later, you go back and you look and you're like, hey, why did my post that used to have 2,000 impressions now only has 400?
I have never seen that. Like, and maybe that's just because I've never managed an account that has dealt with that. But I have never seen that happen on mine or anybody else's. Yes, it is exactly like, is it like hiring people to keep telling you that you are the best? Again, going back to this idea of, like the idea of a coach or a personal trainer, like if you hired a personal trainer who never made you work hard and was only ever like, oh my God, you're so good, like you might feel good. And I will say, I do think there is a lot of value of having people in your corner who are intentionally there to help you grow. That is not the same thing as what we're talking about.
No, it's not at all. Coy says he has 40, and Coy's one of the OGs on X. I have 43,000 followers on X. I bet half of them haven't logged into the app in 5 years. They have no value. Correct. Having a bunch of followers who do not interact or engage does not benefit you at all. Real followers then stop seeing your content because you have all of these fake followers or fake engagement, and the algorithm punishes you. We used to call it shadow banning, but basically what happens is they don't end up, the algorithm doesn't share your content. It decides that this is all fake. We're not going to push this out anywhere. The other thing that you have to think about too is when you have those fake followers, you lose credibility, especially if somebody finds out who works in social media that that you have fake followers. Like there's times where, like, especially like I'll go on LinkedIn and somebody will pop up on my feed and I'm like, holy shit, wow, where did this person come from? And then I start, because I'm a creeper, right? Like creepy McCreeperson. I'm gonna go look.
Man, I will say, like, I haven't actually recently, but I have done my fair share of dunking on the lurkers. Girl, I lurk so hard, man. Like there was some DM chat I was in the other day and I was like, I'm purposefully not going to go look at this profile right now. So that
ours. It was ours.
I was like, I'm not going to go look at this profile because of the way that LinkedIn will indicate to people if you've looked. And so it's like people are gaming the system all the time in different ways. Like if you know the rules of engagement, you can work around some of this stuff, right? But that's not what you're talking about. What you're talking about is that there are people who will look, and they will look closely. And again, why would you do anything that would create any kind of question in the eyes of your prospect and your ideal client? And we've talked about this a lot in the context of like, if you copy other people's stuff and rip it off, if you are not engaging in creating content that is like representative of like who you are and like how you actually talk. And like we've had lots of conversations about the different ways that how you show up in this space can, how people can interpret that. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge question in my mind. If you're like, okay, what's, and it is hard because for most people, and this is why it happens. And this is why I don't want to say people get away with it, but why, I think why people, continue to get roped into this kind of stuff is that, on a surface level, it does take a little bit of a closer look to kind of see when that's happening sometimes. Sometimes it's really obvious. Like sometimes it's really obvious, especially when somebody in my network has posted and then it's all the comments are coming from third connections. That's a great indicator that like something is off there.
Koi says lurkers are where the magic happens.
I love my lurkers.
Yes.
I have had some lurkers also that have recently started posting and I'm like, it's exciting. Anyway.
So yeah, it's when it comes to those fake followers, the fake engagement, the engagement pods, the algorithms will punish you for doing that, and they'll flag your account for suspicious activity. So you're just
go ahead. This is a big deal to me, and I do not think that people take this seriously enough, and it's a part of the greater conversation about the larger marketing ecosystem and what we are always encouraging people to do. And especially on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a little bit of a hypocrite sometimes because they don't want third-party automated stuff on this app
Right.
for scraping people's contact information, for like there's a whole bunch of limitations and restrictions on this app in terms of how people can like plug into the APIs. But LinkedIn especially, even though they have their own internal like, write this post in AI for me, like that, like that's why I mean to say that they're a little bit hypocritical, right? But they come down really, really hard on people who engage in any kind of artificial or suspicious activity, or just like things like this that we're talking about. And if they can shut down your account, they can shut it down. And you can, I've heard so many horror stories of people losing access to their stuff. And I'm just like, if you've actually built a real network on there, even if you've throttled it by doing all this malicious or artificial or suspicious engagement and stuff like that, like you're going to lose access to that. If you've built anything, you're going to lose access to that. And then like, how are you going to rebuild that? And so what we often talk about is like the people in your network, these apps, all the platforms, all the social media platforms are really, we talk about top of funnel content in terms of the kinds of content that people can create, but social media is the top of the funnel and the ecosystem to bring people closer into your CRM, right? And like getting their email and getting them in something that you own, because you do not own anything on these platforms. So if you do something messed up and they delete it because you messed up.
Well, okay, so we're getting a little off topic, but it's actually good because think about TikTok, what's happening. So I think we're still on a 90-day stay of execution. I don't know who's actually purchased TikTok for the US. There's still questions as to who's going to own the algorithm. There's, I guess, a board of like 5 or 7 is going to handle it. There's just a whole mess going on with that, right? But if you built a huge following on TikTok, you do not own those followers unless you have some sort of funnel that you are pushing them through, so that now they've dropped into your CRM or some sort of database that if the platform dies and goes away overnight, you actually have their contact information to let them know that you're still alive.
Yeah. And that you can do business with them. And so this is really, I don't think this is off topic, because the idea of the ownership of like the idea that you could buy followers and like it postures them as a commodity, right? And it's like the whole point of doing anything on social media for us in this business, you're not trying to monetize your social media. You're trying to sell some freaking buildings, right? And so every single follower that you have, like ideally should be a person you can transact with, or that can be a referral partner, or will be a peer or something like that. Like, you're not going to go on whatever I don't even know where you go buy followers. I don't even know where you go do it.
They pop into your DMs, and that's like, you could literally do a Google search like buy followers, right?
It's like, why would you buy something that has literally zero ROI for the kind of people you actually want to do business with?
But they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the vanity metrics. They're thinking about the fact that like, oh, I'm going to look more credible if I have 15,000 here on this platform versus actually doing the work and creating the relationships, the conversations. And guess what? That takes freaking time. That's why you hire social media managers like Fly and myself, so that we can help you do that, come up with a strategy and work with you to increase your presence in a way that makes sense and that it's not fake. You hit on something that I want to talk about real quick. And that's the fact that your job as a broker is to transact with whatever you're doing, whether it's leases, selling buildings, you've got industrial storage, whatever the hell it is that you're doing, that is your job. Your job is not to be a social media influencer or a content creator. Now, I have had I've had so many discussions with people. I'm like, they talk about, I want to monetize. Why? That's not like if your job now is content creator first, broker second, then I understand that. But from the conversations that we're having, you're still, in your mind, you're still a broker first. So why are you so freaking concerned about monetizing your channel? Unless you're like, well, I'm planning to retire in the next 5 years. So this is a long-term plan where I build up this following so that I can monetize and have an additional income stream. Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk about it. Let's plan. Let's have a strategy, right?
It's not impossible.
It's not. But I think when we look at the psychology of it, the dopamine hit of seeing so many, oh my gosh, I got so many followers, I got so many impressions, I did all this stuff. It's that drug, and people have to realize that, that's not your job is not to be on social media all the time.
And it's not a lucrative job. It's not a lucrative job. I mean, I don't know if Coy is still watching, but I will, Coy will regularly post his X payouts, right? And even then, like on X right now, because on X, there's been a lot of changes to the algorithm. And then there's also been some recent drama about some of the accounts that are bigger fighting with each other about who's getting paid out and by how much, and like who's getting favoritism and like all this kind of stuff, right? Like it's crazy. People get crazy, but like you are going to make way more money as a broker than you are getting like $75 payouts because of your X account. Right. Like I think a lot of it is misconception. I think a lot of it is just misconception. And I do think something that you said at the beginning of this was like, I don't know why we're still having this conversation in 2025. And a part of it, I think, in terms of like why people still think that is a viable thing that they can do, is I do see it coming from people who are not online. I cannot think of anybody in like this, I'm probably wrong, but like in the direct circles that we run in, like in like
I think in our circles, yes, absolutely. In our circles, we don't see that as much. There is a little bit of ego with like, well, I have this many followers or I have this much, and I'm like, okay, and like, is it bringing you business? That's
how many buildings did you sell last year, bro?
Right. No, well, and that's the thing. Like, are you transacting because of it? If you're transacting because of it, hallelujah. That's what I want to hear, right? That is that's the most important thing to me. I want to know, did somebody connect with you, even if they were a lurker, and now you have a deal that's going through? Because that's dollars in your pocket. And that is the value, the actual monetary value of being on social media. It has nothing to do with these vanity metrics of like, I have this many. If you're not making money and you got a shit ton of followers, guess what? You're unemployed. Sorry,
no notes.
That was a little rough.
No notes.
Hold on, I wanted to show this real quick. So Dwayne says, before I started DB Land Expert, I was only promoting my son's comedy. So I hit my contacts with flyers and LinkedIn punished me. Yes. They will, the platforms, this happens on Facebook and Instagram quite a bit. They will actually flag your account for inauthentic behavior. Mm-hmm. So if all of a sudden you decide, you get a wild hair up your ass that you're going to go on Instagram and you're going to start liking everybody's posts and you're going to start engaging and all this stuff, they will flag your account because you haven't done this before. And they're like, are you actually you? Did somebody hack your account? This isn't like your normal behavior on this platform. It knows. Roxanne Bushy just joined us over on the gram. We are talking about why buying fake followers is not a good idea for your social media strategy. We're actually coming to the end of the show. I want to share Danielle's. Most folks don't earn on social media, but they do earn through it. Yes, absolutely.
That's
It's so crazy to me that there's still this idea that I need to get more followers. Are they the right followers? Are they the people that are going to transact with you? Are they the people that are going to, you know, email you, drop into your CRM, get involved with you in some way that you actually have a tangible metric to see that it's worth it? Again, I would rather have 100 people watching and following me that are my ideal client and prospect than 10,000 that have no idea and are never going to transact with me.
Yeah, I see the accounts all the time that are like above that 10,000 mark, and horrible engagement. And there's a lot of other reasons for that, but but I think too, just to bring it back to the repeated analogy I use of like, this is just social media is just the real world and the real business lifted up into be in the digital space. And so you would not pay a lot of money to get into a room of people who are not going to transact with you. Just like you said, you would not go to that networking event. You would not pay for that conference ticket. You know what I mean? So don't.
Right. Like why would you go to an event that has nothing to do with your business or who you're trying to transact with? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense. So stop with I want to buy followers. I want to go viral. I want all of this bullshit. I know we'll talk about it again because this isn't the first time we've talked about this.
And also, just a piece of encouragement, if you're watching this and you do have that feeling of like, I want to have a larger network. I want to have more followers. To what Mo said of rather have 100 people who are paying attention than 10,000 people who don't give a rat's ass. Like, just keep going. Just keep building relationships, engaging with others. Like, everything that we talk about here all the time is exactly the steps that you need to take to eventually achieve the kind of results that we talk about. But you're a broker, you should know, like, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to build a book of business. It's going to take a while to build a network for yourself.
Correct. This is a long game, and social media is a long game, and it's that instant gratification because so many people have seen other people on different platforms go viral and get millions of followers. And then it's like, okay, but how many people actually transacted because of that? Right? How many people actually where some point of value was brought to it? And one of the questions before we leave, we need to look at the metrics that matter the most. So engagement rate per post, your follower to comment ratio, profile visits and saves, super important, particularly on X. Those are weighted. Again, algorithms weight everything, right? There's an actual number applied to likes, shares, even the bad reactions of like, hide this post, this doesn't interest me. It all has a number, which then shows your content to either a wider audience or a smaller audience, right? Especially if you've been doing inauthentic behavior. Your DMs, your replies, and your comments, all of that stuff is weighted, and it's important for you to pay attention to that. And it's also the sign of real attention. If people are DMing you and contacting you about stuff that you've talked about on social, that is super valuable. They're stopping you at a conference. You're in a meeting and they go, oh, hey, by the way, wanted to let you know that we heard your podcast. We listened to it in the office the other day. Or so-and-so screenshot. I've had this before. So-and-so screenshot your post and then emailed it to the entire office. Right? It's like, why didn't you just tag them? But that's another story. So the metrics that matter: engagement rate per post, follower to comment ratio, profile visits and saves, and then of course DMs. And then the last thing I want to leave you with: if all of your followers disappeared tomorrow, if the platform went away, How would they know to contact you? How would they know to get in touch with you? Where are you continuing this relationship from social offline? How is that happening? All right, everybody, thank you for joining us today on Social Surge. We will be back here on Tuesday. Don't forget, we have Social Mastery VIP. If you got questions about that, more than happy to help you out. Also, I put a little PDF together so you can audit your social media. It's really good for Q4, Q1. Email me. Or don't email me, just DM me. Yeah, Roxanne, you're right. Correct. You have to have them in your email. But how do you get those people in your email if you've never done anything in the funnel to bring them into your CRM? So again, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. Social Mastery VIP is where we talk about the home marketing ecosystem. We can't wait to see you back here on, okay, Roxanne, I will, hold on. I got to screenshot this because these comments don't save on here. Okay, hold on. I got it. Okay. We'll see you back here on Tuesday. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Sip their coffee.